In this video, I want to talk about how you determine which principles and elements of design to use on your project. There is a, click on this, there is a defined, principles and elements defined chart that goes through the elements on one side and the principles on the other and explains, for example, color, what that is, or contrast, what that is. And this is just simply the definition, right? So principles, elements on this side, principles on this side, line, shape, form, color, texture, space, value, pattern, contrast, emphasis, balance, proportion, harmony, and rhythm are the ones that are here. You can add more to these if you wish, because there are many more than what we look at in most of these courses. But these are the main ones, and these are the ones we're going to focus on. Okay, and then here's a template where it's blank, right? And this allows you to fill in for each one, okay? And then down here is an example of the application in which this is used. Let me pull this out so you can see the whole thing. Okay, so for surrealism, I went through, and I'm going to switch over here to this tab, and I simply Googled surrealism and looked at images, and you might need to tell it you want art or design, so you can look specifically at those types of works. And then you're going to analyze what you see. So, lines. When I look at surrealism, how would I, using adjectives, describe what I see? And then I come back and I write in this chart, organic and geometric, right? So it's a combination of both. I see lines that are very organic, but there are also lines that are very geometric, like on the building, as a building is on a grid. The horizon is very geometric. It's mostly organic, but there is some geometric, okay? Exaggerated lines, bold lines, biological. When I look at surrealism, I see a lot of body parts. I see a lot of nature. I see a lot of biology, right? And so the lines themselves are very biological. You could also call them organic, and I may have done that. I did earlier. Organic, okay? They're bold lines. Now, lines aren't just here, right, well, that's actually cubist, but the lines aren't just lines, right? You can see some of the lines, they're very bold. But lines are also leading lines. Where do they take your eye? And those are very organic for the most part, okay? All right, shape. So when I'm looking at this, I see, again, biological, body parts. Things that are very abstract, fluid, they defy gravity. What else do you see, right? I haven't completed everything you could say about surrealism in this chart. It's just meant to give you a few ideas for how to get started. All right? Keep going, right? We see a lot of things in here that we can use to describe surrealism, to describe the style. And then you can go through and complete this, okay, for each one of these. And this is by no means an exhaustive or complete list. It's just a start and an example of what you could use to describe the elements of surrealism and the principles of surrealism. Now, once I have this, I have a guide before I start any of my assignments on how I should make decisions about the elements and the principles that I apply to my work. For example, I'm working on a design and I want to come up with a color scheme. And obviously somebody from a British English speaking world put this together, or country, nation, city. And when I look at the color, I see hyper-saturated, and hyper I mean overly saturated, very saturated colors. I see dominant primary colors. And what does that mean? I mostly see what colors? Red, blue, and yellow. And it may be that they're very saturated, but they're also very grayed. Like this is a very saturated yellow, but it's also a very grayed yellow, so they're kind of conflicting, but nonetheless, you see a lot of saturation when you look at this. You see a lot of blues, reds, and yellows. What else do I have on here? Unnatural. So even though these colors are, you've got, a lot of biology in here, but you've got colors that things might not be in the real world. And the thing is that surrealism is based on Freud's interpretation of dreams. They visually wanted to represent the feeling that you have when you're in a dream. And I mean, look at this. This is a great example. I've spoken to different people over the years, and some people have perfectly realistic dreams. But I don't want this. But creative people tend to have dreams that look like this. And that was the whole idea of the surrealists. And Salvador Dali in particular, who you can see painted right here, try to duplicate that surreal, bizarre feeling that you have in dreams, where things defy physics and they defy nature, and that they're still based on things that we know, but they're put together in a weird, unnatural way. So now if I'm going to create surrealism, I need to know that. I need to know that the goal is that I'm putting together things in a way where I'm going to apply the elements and the principles of design in a way that fits with that style. And so by doing this first, I now have a roadmap for how I'm going to work on my project, and it's going to keep me from making wrong choices, because I'm not going to pick anything that doesn't fit into each one of my categories, right? So pattern, both ordered and chaotic. I'm not going to, and that pretty much leaves me open to anything, doesn't it? But it means they're both. I'm not going to just be ordered or just be chaotic. I'm going to combine order and chaos. And that's the key, right? So whenever you get stuck somewhere and you're looking at your design and you're like, what should I do? You refer to this and it tells you. For instance, the rhythm, erratic and disconcerting. It means it doesn't make sense. It defies physics, right? Those are the kinds of things I want to do. I don't want to line things up neatly on a grid for surrealism. It doesn't fit with surrealism. Unless I line them up on a grid and then I start twisting them randomly to create that chaos, to create that erratic and disconcerting feeling. Or I can create this perfect grid and move one of them off enough that it would just drive someone nuts who likes things ordered. That is surrealism. And knowing that in advance is going to help you stay to that format style. And it's also going to help you as you choose and make decisions and save you time in the long run.